In the early 1990s, nothing caused more buzz at a card show than a glistening display of vintage Nolan Ryan baseball cards. Ryan's 1968 Topps rookie card, of course, led the way and climbed to more than $1,000 by the time he hung up his spikes in 1993. That burlap-bordered beauty dragged along the rest of Ryan's early career cards, and soon collectors were paying three figures for pasteboards from 1969 through the mid-1970s. Latter cards weren't far behind, and the years have done little to soften those prices. But you don't have to break the bank in order to stock up on vintage Ryan cards. In fact, the next 23 cards are throughout his career of the Ryan Express that you can pick up for a relative song. First, though, a few guideline rules. For the purpose of this list, vintage means anything before 1990. You can quibble with this all you want, and I might too under other circumstances, but it makes perfect sense when you consider that. I set out to include at least one card from every team for which Ryan pitched, and he didn't catch on with the Texas Rangers until 1989. Finally, in order to qualify for this list, a card has to be available today in near mint or better condition for less than $30. So there you go. If you can live with those terms, go ahead and soak in the vintage fireballer cardboard that follows. 1970s Topps. Mets celebrate. We're number one. Number 198. The 1969 Miracle Mets are one of the most famous and inspiring teams of all time. Led from the dugout by the great Gil Hodges, the Mets were bolstered by stellar pitching from Tom Seaver and Jerry Koosman, as well as a colorful lineup that took them all the way to the World Series championship. In commemorating the Mets' victory in the first ever NLCS, Topps issued this "We're Number One" card depicting a shirtless Ryan in the clubhouse with teammates Duffy Dreyer, Tommy Agee, and Wayne Garrett. It's a rare, light-hearted pasteboard moment for the man whose stare and power could frighten batters from even the confines of his baseball card. The best part is that you can pick one of these up for less than $10 in ungraded condition and for under $20 when slabbed in near mint shape. 1972 Topps Mets Team Card, number 362. Looking for Nolan Ryan's last card as a member of the New York Mets? Normally you turn to a top set included during the first year with a new team, since card manufacturers are generally a season behind in their photos. This year's Mike Trout card shows what he looked like last year. But in 1972, Topps pushed Ryan into their high number series, and since he was shipped to the California Angels in December of 1971, his new card reflected his new team affiliation. But the 1972 Topps Mets team card at number 362 shows the team as it was during the summer of 1971, and that meant Ryan duly made his thumbnail appearance with his blue and orange teammates. So Topps managed to sneak in one last Ryan Mets card, while at the same time squeezed him into the Angels togs at the end of the set. Woo! You should be able to find the Mets team card for less than $5 in nice raw condition, while a graded mint copy might run closer to $30. 1973 Topps 72 Strikeout Leaders, number 67. In 1972, Nolan Ryan led the American League with 329 strikeouts in less than 300 innings pitched. It was the first of 11 times that Ryan's name would top the leaderboard, and it's fitting that he and Steve Carlton appeared together on the top strikeout leader card the next year. Those two would battle for K supremacy over the next decade and a half, with the Ryan Express finally steamrolling lefty. Today you can buy this card for less than $10 in raw condition and under $50 for graded mint copies. 1974 Topps number 20. Fresh off a record 383 strikeouts in his second season with the California Angels, Nolan Ryan was starting to make baseball people rethink the notion that he was just a one-dimensional pitcher. For this 1974 card, Topps captures the sight that once made batters from coast to coast quiver in the box as they waited for strike three, or for something a bit wilder to come but just as fast. This is the first base card on our list, and it's a bargain at less than $30 raw and less than $50 in graded near mint condition. 1975 Hostess, number 58. If you were a collector who didn't eat sweets in 1975, then chances are you gave away or threw away your fair share of Hostess pastries that summer, trying to collect the cards the Cupcakery issued on the bottom of their family-size boxes of their sweeties. The good news was that you got 3 at a time panel style, so you could at least show some restraint in your Twinkie buying habits. For his part, Nolan Ryan led off a sheet that also included outfielder Reggie Smith of the St. Louis Cardinals and hurler Joe Coleman of the Detroit Tigers. The cards separated by dotted lines were meant for cutting. While not all that rare, it's an interesting period piece that can sell for less than $20 in ungraded condition for either a nice hand-cut Ryan or a full sheet. Graded copies of the Ryan in near mint condition sell for less than $50. 1975 Topps, 74 Highlights, No Hitters, number 5. On September 28, 1974, Ryan racked up his third career no-hitter. Even though he had tossed 2 no-nos in 1973, it took Topps until 1975 to commemorate his untouchableness in cardboard. And even though he had to share the spotlight with the temporarily unhittable Steve Busby and Dick Bosman. Still, it's an early piece of ephemera dedicated to the budding Ryan legacy, and it can be yours for under $10 raw and less than $20 when slabbed in near mint condition. 1976 SSPC, number 30. As card companies sprouted like weeds in the infield of the hobby during the 1980s, veteran collectors continued to lament the fact that no one seemed committed to producing a pure product that focused primarily on presenting the players we idolized while eschewing fancy design elements. Eventually, these hobbyists would point to the 1975 SSPC set as a primary example of such purity. While most headliners warned that the SSPC was an unauthorized, unlicensed product and could be reproduced whenever the creators or anyone else decided to turn on the presses again, a fair number of player collectors added these to their master set checklists. The fact that it was later revealed that the cards were printed in 1976 and not 1975 likewise did nothing to dim the enthusiasm for the SSPCs. The Ryan card shows a typical sharp for the time, nearly full-blood photo of the Express in his Halos uniform and sells for less than $10 in raw today. Even graded gem mint copies trade for less than $50. 1976 SSPC Catfish Hunter and Nolan Ryan, number 539. Another SSPC card. This one shows 2 pitchers at different ends of the career spectrum, though we didn't really know it then. In his late 20s, Catfish Hunter was coming off a 23-14 record in his first year with the New York Yankees, but it would all be downhill from there, and Jim would be out of the league by 1979. Ryan, a couple of years younger than Hunter, was just getting warmed up and would continue to build on his legend for nearly 2 full decades. The card is a contraband classic that you can find without much trouble for under $10. 1977 Topps Record Breaker, number 234. Usually when guys start breaking career records, it's a pretty good bet that they're rounding second and headed towards the end of their big league journeys. And that's probably what most collectors thought about Ryan when he appeared on this Topps card commemorating his feat of 4 300 strikeout seasons. He was turning 30, and it was only a matter of time before his powerful right arm flew right off his body after all. As it turns out, Ryan wasn't quite finished when he went on to record 2 more 300K campaigns and to pitch at the highest level until 1993. Nonetheless, his 1977 record breaker card was a great snapshot of an early career achievement that you can find for under $5 when ungraded and less than $10 when slabbed in near mint condition. 1978 Kellogg's, number 51. Nothing screams 1970s like garish colors, blurry psychedelic backgrounds, sideburns, and afros. The 1978 Kellogg's Nolan Ryan card scores on all of these except for the fro, and we don't really know what he's hiding under his angel's cap, right? Angel on top, devil underneath, business in the eyes, party in the hat. Could be. What we do know is that you can snatch up nice, solid, near-mint copies of this card for less than $10, though you should be aware of bowed and cornflaking crack surfaces. 1979 Topps All-Time Record Holders, Strikeouts, number 417. When collectors first tore into wax packs of 1979 Topps, many of us thought we'd stumbled into an accidental treasure. How did Ty Cobb's and Walter Johnson get wedged into our stacks of Ed Figueroa's and Bump Willis's? And does anybody recognize the mistake they made? Soon enough, we realized that number one, the all-time record holders were just a black and white device to give us some nostalgia with our record holder education. And number two, Lou Brock's successful career denouement and assault on every imaginable stolen base record were the impetus for the subset's existence. 40 plus years later, and this Nolan Ryan and Walter Johnson card is a happy byproduct of the Brock celebration, and one which foreshadowed Ryan's strikeout match over the next decade and a half. Even better, you can score these all day long for about $2 a pop. 1980 Topps, number 580. This is Ryan's last base card as a member of the California Angels, and it's a beauty. While the angle of the image doesn't leave the viewer staring down the barrel of the Ryan Express like his 1974 card did, the action seems almost more powerful somehow. Add in a clear photo and great complementary colors in the card design, and it seems all the more bargain at less than $10 raw. You should also be able to snag a near mint graded copy for less than $30. 1981 Donruss, number 81. In 1980, Ryan came home to Texas, and this 1981 card shows Ryan in his first season with the Houston Astros. It also happens to be part of Donruss's first ever baseball card issue, one of 3 major sets produced that year. But while Fleer and Topps settled for headshots of the powerful legend, Donruss caught him in mid-delivery with Wrigley Field brick and ivory in the background. It's not a gorgeous card, but it is a perfect period piece that you can buy for less than $5 ungraded and for less than $30 in slab gem mint condition. 1982 Donruss Diamond Kings, number 13. In their sophomore effort, Donruss rolled out their first Diamond Kings, miniature versions of paintings by renowned Hall of Fame artist Dick Pettis. Each team had a representative, and it was none other than Ryan who was positioned in front of the blaring orange Astros rainbow. Today, you can buy the original Ryan DK card for about $1 raw and less than $20 in graded mint condition. 1983 Topps All-Star Glossies, number 28. Beginning in 1983, Topps inserted flimsy game cards that allowed you to accrue points, which you could redeem for groups of 10 All-Star Glossy cards. These were the pasteboards that we all wanted Topps to issue in their base set each year because the cardstock was thick and white, the photos were large and clear, and the design was minimal. In many ways, these were the harbingers of Topps Tiffany and later moved towards premium and super premium sets, and these days you can buy the Nolan Ryan from the first issue for less than $5. 1983 Topps Super Veterans, number 361. In 1983, Topps dipped into their archives to recognize 35 super veterans who had been around the majors for 10 years or more. The roll included such luminaries as Pete Rose, Mike Schmidt, and Gene Garber. And of course, Nolan Ryan made the list too. It's just that he and fellow super veteran Carlton Fisk would be around for another 10 years and could have appeared in these types of subsets for decades. As it is, you can buy the Ryan SB for less than $10 in graded mint condition. 1984 Topps, 1983 Highlights, Ryan, Carlton, and Perry surpass Walter Johnson, number 4. In 1983, Walter Johnson lost his 56-year hold on the all-time strikeouts record, and the mark didn't fall just once. Nolan Ryan, Steve Carlton, and Gaylord Perry each dropped the big train in order. Perry retired after the season, and Carlton surged into the all-time lead. But Ryan had plenty more up his right sleeve. Topps commemorated the events with number 4 on their 1984 set, and you can buy ungraded copies for less than $5. Even a graded gem mint condition you should be able to find for less than $20. 1984 Topps National League Active Career Strikeout Leaders, number 707. With all sorts of big records and milestones within sight in 1984, Topps took the opportunity to stuff more star power into a set with a series of active career leaders in a major statistical category for both leagues. Card number 707 showcased the National League's best strikeout artists, with Ryan riding shotgun to Steve Carlton and Tom Seaver easing into third. Of course, plenty of Ryan's strikeouts had come in the American League and not the National League, but don't let the facts get in the way of a great card like this. Pick it up for less than $5 and you'll be happy Topps fudged. 1985 Donruss Action All-Stars, number 20. Card companies may have produced an infinite amount of product in the 1980s, but they were nearly as prolific when it came to the types of cards they offered. One of Donruss's running specials was the Action All-Stars, which debuted in 1983 and showcased the biggest names in the game on the biggest cards in the game, 3.5 by 5 inches to be exact. Nolan Ryan made his obligatory appearance in the black-bordered 1985 version, which sells for less than $5 ungraded and less than $10 in slabbed mint condition. 1986 Fleer Star Sticker, number 102. After a 5-year hiatus, Fleer wrote out their second series of star stickers in 1986. These were full-blown Fleer cards with complete stats on the back, but you could peel away the front and plaster it on your notebook or your TV screen if you were so inclined. Stick to the unslabbed version and you can find the Ryan for less than $5, while the graded near mint copy goes for less than $10. 1989 Mother's Cookies, number 8. Issued in packages of baked goodies in 1952 and 1953, and then given away as in-stadium promotions from 1983 through 1998, Mother's Cookies cards were a regional issue with an unusual far reach, the entire West Coast and both Texas teams. Collectors who appreciated the pure, clean look of SSPC enjoyed Mother's Cookies cards since they had full-blood photos and little else besides a player's name and rounded corners. This 1987 Nolan Ryan example sells for less than $5 raw and less than $10 in graded gem mint condition. 1988 Score, number 575. 7 years after Donruss and Fleer joined the baseball card fray, Score showed up with an innovative set that featured premium, for the time, cardstock and solid photography on the front and backs of each pasteboard. As it happened, 1988 was also Nolan Ryan's last year in Houston, and his orange-bordered scorecard is a powerful snapshot of his amazing delivery even into his 40s. You can buy ungraded copies for less than $2 each, and even a perfect gem mint graded specimen will set you back less than $15. 1989 Bowman, number 225. The baseball card field became even more crowded in 1989 when Upper Deck unveiled its premium offering and Topps resurrected the old Bowman name. But while all the other major base sets showed Ryan in his Astros uniform, Bowman was able to take advantage of a later release date and captured the Express in his new Rangers togs. The 1989 Bowmans never really clicked with collectors, owing in part to their larger than normal size, 2.5 by 3 3/4 inches. But they did set the stage for the later, more popular rendition of the brand. Today, they also provide an early look at Ryan the Ranger for less than $2 in the raw condition and under $25 for slabbed gem mint copies. There, you have them. 23 vintage Nolan Ryan baseball cards that won't set you back more than a tank of gas. And really, who needs to go anywhere anyway when you have your wax pack gods to keep you company? Like our video? Then like our videos and subscribe to our channel. waxpackgods.com